Hello and happy Monday, everyone. I know this is totally random, but on Saturday, my video actually did not post. I was having a lot of technical difficulties with my cell phone. So my husband, kudos to my husband, he actually got one of our old laptops refurbished, and so he was able to fix it up, and we are smooth rolling. So I'm very excited to begin kind of doing some video segments and really being able to communicate with you all through my laptop and using video. So I'm very excited. So for those who were interested in Wake Up Wives on Saturday, we will be back rolling with that now that I have some technology to use. And so I just wanted to recap. If you weren't on Wake Up Wives Saturday morning, I have my notes, and I just wanted to kind of review some of the things that I was able to share. If you are following me via social media and on Facebook and Instagram, you will know that my topic for Saturday was what I did not know before I said I do, and what I learned after I do. So as people join in, I'm going to answer questions and try to answer questions as I go. But I'm just going to kind of review some of my notes and share them with you all, for those who were on Saturday, but we got disconnected, and B, who wish they were on, but would like a review. Okay? So just for those who are tuning in and who, don't really know what I do, of course, my name is Sharnetta J. Harrell. Tomorrow is actually our 2nd year wedding anniversary. I'm 25 years old, and I am from Nashville, North Carolina. I empower millennial women to peel back the layers of their childhood experiences, and I do that by advocating for women's holistic development. And so what that means is I am compassionate and passionate about empowering and advocating for the entire woman. So I'm very excited about that. And so if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, you will know that I also have a blog. And a part of me empowering women is also through blogging and speaking. And so I have 3 weekly segments. And the first one, of course, is Tune Up Tuesday. If you follow me via social media, you will know that Tuesdays is the opportunity for millennial women to get a tune-up. However the Lord leads me to share, I'm able to share that with you all. And it's just a 1-minute video clip of what that really means, and to give you a tune-up. Okay? The second way, and the second segment that I have is actually on Saturdays, and that's bi-weekly, and that's Wake Up Wives, and that occurs each Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m. Okay? And so Wake Up Wives is also an opportunity for women who are aspiring to be married, women who are engaged, or women who are currently married, to kind of tune in and get in the know before they go. And so what that means is I kind of deliver a message, an empowering message to them before they kind of start their busy day with the kids, with their husbands, with church, or whatever. And so that's really an opportunity for women to get energized before they start their day. Okay, the third weekly segment that I have via social media is the word for the weekend. Okay, so last week the word for the weekend was purpose. And so this is really an opportunity for millennial women to critically think about the word and what that really means to them. Okay, so I am going to jump right on into a review of Saturday. This is a recap of Wake Up Wives. This is totally random, but I really felt the need to record and to really review Saturday, being that my video did not post. Okay, so the 3 things that I didn't know before I said I do, and the 3 things that I know now after I've said I do. And so pretty much on my first, I'm going to start with the 3 things that I didn't know before I do. Okay, so my first point is marriage requires premarital work. Okay, so what that means is, I know a lot of us, we're always like, oh, we're going to go to premarital counseling, or, we're going to do this, and oh, we're going to do that. And all of that is great. But what we have to know and what we have to understand is you can go talk to someone, you can go see counselors, but the premarital work really begins with us, and it really begins with ourselves. And I think that before I got married, and before a lot of women get married, they think that, just going, to see someone or going to talk to someone will fix whatever is broke before you say I do. So I always tell women that the work begins before the ring. And what that really means is, if you're thinking about getting married, or if you're already engaged, please seek wise counsel before saying I do, and really start to kind of do some of that premarital work. Okay? Please feel free to ask questions. I am open to answering questions. Hello to my followers, and I'm going to keep right on going. Okay? My second point is marriage showed me how selfish I really was. If you're anything like me, I am an only child. I grew up in a single parent household, and so marriage really showed me, before I said I do, marriage really showed me how selfish I was and how self-centered I was. And I think that one of the things that our counselors really instilled in us was that marriage is about dying to self. And I realized that I wasn't doing that, and I didn't know how to do that. And so going back to point 1, that is how we really begin to when we really start investing in, really dissecting ourselves and peeling back those layers, that is how we really begin to be selfless. I think that when 2 people join together and both of them are really being selfless, you will find yourselves not being selfish. Okay? And just to piggyback on that, I think that when you learn to put your husband's needs before your own, I think that really also makes a huge difference. I think that, going into marriage, sometimes we think, like, oh, well, if I, keep the house clean, or, if I do this or if I do that, our marriage, is going to be, A+. But the reality is, once the honeymoon phase is over, once, you say I do, you're tired, you're both tired, you're exhausted from the day, you come home, and you really have to tune in to one another. And I think that the way that we do that is really being selfless. I am definitely still guilty, of, really learning that, and really learning that even when I'm physically tired, that I have to really be emotionally available for my husband, and really being able to listen to him and discern his mood, and discerning what it is that, he's experiencing and how his day was. Okay? The third point that I will make, the things that I didn't know before I said I do, was marriage reminds you of your childhood experiences. One of the main missions of who I am and how I empower women is peeling back the layers of our childhood experiences. When we begin to do that, you will find so many different things beneath those layers to get to your core. And so before we say I do, I think that going back to even point 1 is that the premarital work, if you're really doing premarital work, you will know and understand that Your childhood experiences are there. And I think that whether positive or negative or in between, I think that your childhood experiences really affect negatively or positively your marriage. And I think that that's true in 4 areas: spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially. And the list could go on. But what we have to know and have to understand is that we have to begin peeling back the layers of our childhood experiences. My mother and I talk all the time, about how, her decisions and her independence, ultimately affected me. Being raised by a single parent, especially a woman, she did an amazing job at raising me and, giving me an independent spirit and really giving me a career-driven purpose. But one of the things that I had to learn when I got married is that you can't be an alpha woman all the time. A man, God created our husbands to lead, and submission isn't always easy. And so we really have to begin to really peel back those layers to understand what that really means. Okay? And so those are the 3 things that I did not know before I said I do. So now I'm going to move into the 3 things I learned after I said I do. Okay? And so followers, please feel free to ask questions. Hi ladies, I want to welcome you and I want to thank you for joining in. Okay, so I'm going to move right on into the 3 things that I learned after I said I do. Okay, so number 1, marriage requires continually seeking wise counsel. Okay, I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm private, or, oh, we don't talk to anyone about our marriage. And trust me, I'm a huge advocate of that. When my husband and I got married, even before we got married, we both made a decision of who we would share our marriage with and under the specific circumstances of who we would share our marriage with, even related to social media. Okay? And so what I learned after I said I do is you have to continually seek wise counsel. Wise counsel doesn't mean, chopping it up with your girlfriends, all the time, or, complaining about him. Girl, he getting on my nerves. And girl, let me tell you about, what he did. Wise counsel means seeking couples who have been married 20 years, 30 years, who are both living under the umbrella of God and who are both glorifying God in their marriage and making their marriage a ministry. That is wise counsel. Okay? If you need to, if you feel like your marriage is having issues, that are far beyond, what your church community can provide, I'm a strong advocate, of course, of seeking out some extra professional support, through a marriage and family therapist. I think that is, key. And I think that working in mental health myself, I think that I'm a huge advocate of that. Okay. The second thing that I learned after saying I do is marriage means disagreeing. I think that when we get married, sometimes, I know I can speak for myself, when we first got married, I think that I thought every argument that my husband and I had, or every disagreement that my husband and I had, that meant that we were going to get a divorce. As crazy as that sounds, it is so true. Okay? And again, we have to peel back those layers, of what that really means. Being raised by an alpha female and being raised by an independent female, I was always taught, to hold your own, right? But when you get married and you disagree about minute things, and you disagree about the refrigerator, or you disagree about the grass, or you disagree about just small things in the house, like not cleaning up the kitchen properly. Those things are minute, and those are small disagreements, right? We have to learn how to communicate with our spouse, even in small areas of disagreement. Just because you disagree doesn't mean you're going to get a divorce, okay? And I think that, again, going back to point one, really beginning to see how those small disagreements may need to require some wise counsel, okay? And so going on to point 3 is talking about finances. This is huge. This is something that we as women, we don't talk about, right? One of the most wittiest and wisest things that our marriage counselors instilled in us in the area of finances was, you have to know who is the spender and who is the saver, okay? Most women are spenders and most men are savers. Why is that? If you take a minute to really think about that, men are created to protect and provide, right? So what that means is, from a financial perspective, men want to know where the finances are. They want to know how, he can save more. He wants to know how he can be able to provide, right? Men are conquerors. And so financially, that pretty much means that they want to be able to conquer the finances and to know that he is protecting us. He's protecting us and he's providing for us financially, right? And so for me, in our marriage, I am definitely the spender and he is definitely the saver, right? And so what that means is, what I learned after I said I do is that, Trinetta, you cannot go get a Kate Spade bag that's $300. You cannot go buy, a $100 shoe randomly, You have to set a budget. Budgeting in marriage works. It's key. It's what we do. It's how you thrive. If you don't have a budget, go to your nearest bank. If you bank with state employees or any bank, there are financial planners that are there that are willing to help you to be able to sort through that, right? And so, know that who is the spender and who is the saver. That is definitely something that I learned after I do. Okay? And so, so those are the 3 things in both areas. Those were the 3 things that I didn't know before I said I do, and the 3 things that I learned after I do. Of course, it's more than 6 things. I could go on and on and on about what I didn't know before and what I know now. Okay? And so I think that if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. Everything that I do, everything that I speak about, everything that I empower women about is either through lived experience or it's biblical. And so one of the passages that I wanted to leave you with, and this is the same passage that I had on Saturday, but unfortunately my phone went out, is Ephesians 5:23. It says, "Wives, submit to your own husbands as you do to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. Now as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit to their husbands in everything." When my husband and I first got married, this scripture was hard for me, because again, I think society tells us submission is you're going to be a slave, or he's going to control you, or, whatever. Submission is not. Submission is just the opposite. Submission means that my husband seeks God. My husband is accountable to God. He hears, the vision of our family through God's voice and discerning God's voice. And the only way that he can do that is through diligently seeking him, staying in the word. He's not perfect, but he lives by grace, right? And so what that means is that I, as a wife, I'm able to submit to my husband because he is able to submit to Christ. And this scripture gives a illustration of what that means, right? So if you think about an umbrella, right? If you think about an umbrella and you think about this scripture and the umbrella, right? You have Christ, you have the husband, and you have the wife, right? And when I look at that and I think about an umbrella and I think about protection, right? And so I think about Christ, how he protects both of us, how my husband protects me, and how my husband will be able to protect myself and my children, right? And so I really want to empower you to know what submission means. Know what that means before you say I do. Be in a space where you can submit. And seek wise counsel about that word. Sometimes there are two totally different meanings of submission and slavery. Submission and being authoritative. Submission between being controlling. Those are two totally different types of things. And so if you question that, please seek wise counsel. Please seek out resources and vessels that will pour into you as wives and that will prepare you and to know what those signs look like and to know what is submission and what are things that are actually unhealthy. Okay? And so again, I'm wrapping up. I've been up here about 20 minutes. I don't think you guys have any questions for me. Again, this is a recap of Saturday. This is a recap of Saturday's Wake Up Wives. My phone went out, and so I had prepared those 3 things for you guys. And so I really wanted to, have that again for you. And I really hope that it blessed you. Okay. Again, my blog and my website is SharnettaJHarrell.com. There you will find a lot of my blog posts. I blog pretty much about a lot of different things, but my key area and my key focus is empowering millennial women to peel back the layers of their childhood experiences before and after I do. I know that's a lot. But the reality of it is marriage is a lot, right? And as millennials, we find ourselves wanting to be married, but not really doing the work, not really, peeling back those layers. And we also don't know that marriage only enhances what is already there, right? That's all marriage does. It only enhances what's already there. Okay, so again, thank you so much. I do believe that I will be doing Wake Up Wives this Saturday. I did not get a chance to do it last Saturday, again, because of my phone. But I do believe that I will be back on this Saturday morning to empower you all. Please inbox me, message me about any topics that you would like to talk about, that you would like for me to touch on, that you would like to be empowered about. I truly believe in women's holistic development. I believe in empowering the whole woman, not just in her marriage, but personally in her spiritual walk. I do that in 3 different areas, and that's mind, marriage, and spirit. Those are the 3 areas of empowerment that I focus on, is mind, marriage, and spirit. Okay? So if you all do not have any questions for me, it has been great. I really do want to share in my testimony that this is big for me. This is big, recording and empowering women. I've always been passionate about empowering women. but to do it on this type of platform, it's huge, you know, putting yourself out there, you know, not really caring what people say, you know, and so I'm very excited, you know, that the Lord has used me to empower women in this area of life. Okay, so again, my name is Shanetta J. Harrell, and I am empowering you to peel back the layers of your past childhood experiences to before and after you say I do. And I do that in 3 different areas: mind, body, and spirit. Okay, which is all rooted from women's holistic development. Okay, you know, people always ask me, Shanetta, like, what are you doing? You know, what is your overall goal? My overall goal is to be a resource for hundreds of women who are getting ready to get married, but they don't know how to begin to start peeling back their layers. For women who are engaged and don't know how to begin to peel back their layers. And women who are currently married, you know, who don't know how to peel back their layers. In some of my upcoming segments, I will be doing some segments and some techniques that will provide ways on how to begin to peeling back those layers. If we look at our lives as women, our behaviors and what we do, how we think, how we move, how we breathe, how we talk, how we serve, our interests, our hobbies, all of these things are a result of how our childhood experiences affected us and how we are able to peel back our layers, right? And so, you know, if you're yelling at your man, if you're yelling at your husband, peel back those layers. What is that about? You know, what did you grow up seeing? What did your mom teach you? What did your father teach you? You know, if you are, you know, there are so many different scenarios and how you can begin to peel back your layers. And so I've been up here for about 30 minutes. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I will be back Saturday at 9:30 for Wake Up Wives. So remember to get in the know before you go. Wake up a couple of minutes early and get empowered. Okay? So thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. And have a good evening.